Hey viewers, this is Random Stuff with Alex Hughes, and it's quite a surprise, but back in my room. I remember I was kind of looking back at my channel, thinking about what to do next, what kind of videos I could do with a webcam instead of a regular digital camera. And I was actually working in my room today, so I was like, why not shoot a video here? It's been quite a while. As you can see, I still have my mental chewing gum wall in the back, inspired by Mark Freeman, and just put some new post-it notes. For a while, I have to say I wasn't really active on that, creating new post-it notes for probably about a year, to be honest. I had, I think, I was doing a lot of community service work and work at work, so I wasn't as focused on that. Um, but finally decided to put some new ones up and kind of start working on different parts of my life. Um, so that's the mental chewing gum wall. It's still up there. I added something different to the left. There's an I am thing from Target, I think it was, and it was really cool. It was like paper mache. You pick adjectives that really describe who you are, and then you paste them up and kind of structure it. I guess there was a couple different options, but I made that about almost 2 years ago now. But there's still some relevant stuff up there. I found a balloon when I was cleaning. You are number one. The one. That was, I don't know if I really did a video about that actually, describing what that means, but I remember there was this, I think there was this guy on YouTube that had a series of videos under the McFarlane um, LLC or something. He was really inspirational. I followed his 30-day challenge that he had. A lot of great tools. Other than that, there's some of the stuff that's been up there for almost over 3 years now, actually, which is really cool. And have my vision board over here that I made about over 2 years ago now. And a lot of the stuff is actually manifested into reality. That's an important thing. When you use a vision board, is you put up things you want to see in the future, and you kind of look at it over time, and you realize the stuff starts to manifest. I guess it's maybe the subconscious mind, or kind of a goal that you want to achieve in the future. So it's really cool to see that actually happen, and I'm really glad that I did something like that. I remember, I think I watched a video, and there was a whole video about that, and I decided to do it, and it's really cool. So I think today I'll talk about, since before I used to do videos about anxiety when I first started out, about, was it 3 years ago, I did some videos starting off about my OCD and anxiety, and how I had different ones. There was like my fear of peanuts, and having to check things and wash things, and very beginning of this mental chewing gum wall. And it's cool to be able to come back again now and look back at how far I've gotten from those early anxiety videos. And now I think I'll add something else I didn't mention early on, was I guess my fear of worrying about what if someone's talking about me. And so that was something that I remember in high school, where I had classes, and they're different table groups. That's how it was set up before. Um, we would have different people we would sit by. Sometimes the chairs would change, but overall it was like the same groups. And I guess I was concerned about, there's always people talking, and in these different groups. And so I guess in my head I was always thinking at certain points, like, oh, you start to think in your mind, those self-conscious thoughts, and you start to think to yourself, are these people, talking about me? And, I guess they say talking behind your back. And so I remember um, being in those groups, and trying to do my work, trying to stay focused, and then I would hear laughing and conversations, and I guess that's when you pick up on things. You pick up on what people say, and you're like, is that are they mentioning my name? And then I think your imagination starts to come in, and your imagination starts to create a dialogue in your head, kind of like with NoFap, and when you kind of have those lustful emotions, and you have a crush or something, and you think of all these crazy scenarios in your head about how this could go down, like the Jason Derulo song in my head. I actually just sang to that the other day. It was a really good song. But the reality is, it's kind of like this. You have a strong imagination. You pick up on certain words, and your brain tries to put the puzzle together and create this certain context, this storyline. And the funny thing is, you're not in this conversation, so the reality is, it's really up in the air. It could be about anything, frankly, but your mind tries to make a story, and that story kind of chips away at you. When you start to build this habit of picking up on conversations and assuming that laughing means they're laughing at me, and it really does develop a sense of self-consciousness and anxiety, kind of worrying about what are people saying about me, and what do people think, and it made it hard to focus, and so that was one of the anxieties that really kind of ate away. I think I got more confident as the years passed on, and I was like, I don't care what people say, and I'm gonna, work on what I'm doing. What am I gonna be passionate about? What am I gonna go after? And that's when it started to kind of erode. And this thought that I had was that I'm not in that conversation, so why should I worry about it? It's not my conversation. It's not something that I have to directly deal with. And the reality is, most of the things we assume aren't actually true. So a lot of the things we think in our heads about a certain conversation, or what if this happens, fearful thoughts of a situation. And the reality is, not even majority is what, 51%? It's like most 95% or more than that, these negative catastrophic thoughts don't necessarily manifest into reality. But when we dwell on these things, these negative thoughts and anxiety, then not necessarily the situation will happen. We'll just have those negative feelings with us. So that's why after a while, I started not to care, and I still have to remind myself, especially on the bus. People speak Spanish, so it's like, what if they're talking about me in Spanish, or something like, or what if the girls, what if they're talking about me, and in a negative way. And it's all about how you perceive people's actions, because you could always switch that around and be thinking, they think I'm the best, they think, all these positive things. And so you could flip it around and turn into something positive, or really not care, and be like, I'm just going to stay focused on what I'm doing. I'm not in that conversation. That shouldn't affect me, because, well, it's not my conversation. And eavesdropping is not good, because you start to assume things, and you could create a storyline that isn't actually reality. So that's definitely one of my anxieties, and sometimes it comes back. I have to watch that, especially like when I was talking about the wealthy area video, about how, well, what if people think, I don't look like them or something. That thing in society now where it's like, you look different. Everybody's discriminatory, especially if you look a certain way. I don't subscribe to that belief, and I think that's a lot of anxiety. For me, it's like, I'm here. If I want to go here, I'm gonna go here. And if I have of course, the money too. I can't just go anywhere. I gotta have the money. But the reality is, it's really about being aware of that, because a lot of habits we start to build, we're not aware of those. Especially with my case, where I was aware, that I have the anxiety, but I didn't realize that a lot of the habits that were subconsciously being built or unconsciously being built were contributing to my overall negative health. That, by assuming things and saying these negative words in my head, or uh, how's my physiology, that would all contribute to my feeling of anxiety. And I have to really be aware of where it's going now, because I don't want to go back. I never want to go back to where I was before. You know, yeah, my mind sometimes tries to tell me that, but I'd rather be where I am today. The hard work has paid off. It's kind of like being wealthy, or the funny thing is, it would be like, so you grow up poor, you don't have all these things, and then you work so hard to get to that level. You have, the wealth, you can buy the things that you've never had before, and then you say to yourself, I think I'd rather be dirt poor again. I don't see that. I'd rather be where I am today, because the hard work has got me to this level. So that's one of the another addition to the anxiety journals. What do people think? So have a great day, and see you guys later.